money coming from her mom's late husband's estate. Again, that's the tangled web we have here. But at the end of the day, your headline is we could be seeing a 6-year-old obtaining $49 million. And one of the questions out of this, is that a good thing? Well, certainly on the surface, 49 mil would be a nice thing for anybody. But would fame, she's already a model, and fortune, there's 49 million. Is that not a good thing for this little girl? We'll take your calls on that. 1-877-TEL-HLN is the number. Already some of you weighing in on social media. Jacob posting this. Yes, if she's entitled to it, and it should be placed in a trust till she's 21 where she can handle it. Janet Johnson's with us, an attorney, and it's her birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, Janet. Tell us about the trust and what would happen here. So let's say the money's awarded is $49 million. How much would little Dannielynn get, and when would she be able to have access to it?
Right, and not as any slight to her father, Larry Birkhead. He seems to be a great dad. He doesn't seem to be trying to profit from either his, the late mother or from his daughter. But a court would automatically appoint a guardian ad litem and a trustee who would put the money in trust. They could apply and get a certain income off of it, but they probably couldn't even touch the principal until she's 18, and then it might be structured from there on out up until it could be 30. A lot of estates have it structured in that manner. She would not get handed $49 million next week. That just wouldn't happen.
Right, and like you mentioned earlier, the trip to the toy shop, not happening. You got to handle this responsibly. All right, hey, Dr. John Sharp with us again, psychiatrist. Okay, so we've shown the video of Anna Nicole Smith, the sad video of the last months of her life. Do you introduce this to Dannielynn at some point? And if so, how? I mean, she's probably going to see it anyway. It's so prevalent out there as she grows older. But how do you navigate that with a little girl? And here's your mom. And what happened?
Carefully and with time. Absolutely right that you wouldn't want to overdose Dannielynn on, some of the difficulties that her mom struggled with until she's old enough to really understand. So it's the same thing like with the money, with this kind of news. You'd want to wait not till she's a teenager really, but until she's more of a mature adult to be able to have these discussions. I think that we can try to protect her as a society. The guardian ad litem can, her dad can. It's going to take all of that. Absolutely.
And who does it? Is that a dad? Is that a professional? And how dangerous is that information for a little girl to take in? Again, she wouldn't be little to your point when she was introduced to it, but whatever age, I'm sure it'd be difficult to see.
Well, absolutely. And if she runs into it without anyone knowing, hopefully she'll bring it up and she'll ask questions. She'll go to her dad and say, Dad, I saw this video. Was that mom? What was wrong with her? Can you tell me? And, child psychiatrists, psychologists can help frame this discussion. There are counselors who can easily help Larry, help her be able to know what's the right thing to say and what's the right time to say that.
Okay. Again, we're taking your calls on this. Your thoughts on Dannielynn potentially getting $49 million. She's a 6-year-old model for Guess, Anna Nicole's daughter. Good thing or not? And do you have any concerns out there? Call me up, 1-877-TEL-HLN. It's open mic. You know the story that we are all in.
When I pronounce the final resolution in this case, I want you to understand that I've reviewed absolutely everything. I have suffered with this. I have struggled with this. I have shed tears for your little girl and your grandchild. But I hope, because I tell you something, in the old days I'd be banging some heads together. I mean it. You all really should do the right thing by this Dannielynn.
All right, that was Judge Larry Seidlin. He presided over the case. It was the battle over Anna Nicole Smith's remains. Again, a sad end to her life. And his refrain throughout the trial was make sure that little Dannielynn gets the right shot, that she has a good shot at life. Well, $49 million, that would say, yeah, things are going to go pretty well for her. We have our guest with us, Janet Johnson, an attorney, and Dr. John Sharp, psychiatrist. Well, you kind of hit on it, John. Let me get Janet's take. No, money doesn't buy happiness, but it's a nice start. But you got to be careful with it, right, Janet? When you're talking about that kind of money for that little girl.
Well, and this little girl is already saddled with problems to begin with. I think Dr. John was talking about this. I mean, her mom died tragically. Her half-brother died tragically. You know, she started life, even though financially a little bit ahead of the curve, but behind in a lot of ways. I mean, she's missing a mother. She'll never get to talk to her mother about things that a girl would want to confide in her mom about. So she's had a difficult time. And what the caller talked about were things that no court can change those things. They're going to be the case no matter what. And in fact, they were trying to get her $475 million, which is what Anna Nicole said she had been promised by her husband of 14 months. And, you know, these people just fought tooth and nail to make sure this girl didn't get a dime. 49 million, while it's a lot, it's only a tenth of what she would have had. And I think if it's given to her wisely, it's a great thing. And who can begrudge her that? Yeah,
key word there, wisely. Folks weighing in on social media. Let's get a couple comments out there. Paula says her dad's doing a good job. I think she'll be all right. Barbara says normal life, never, but she can get whatever is hers. Keep the comments coming. Let's go to the phones. 1-877-TEL-HLN. Dion's with us, Nevada. Dion, what do you think?
Hey, I think it's a great idea that she's going to receive this money. I think it's due to her daughter. You know, I think that's a good idea. But with society today and children that are becoming young stars and are receiving such a large amount of money, I can only pray that her foundation is strong. We already saw the history, which you guys have already spoken on. We just need to take into account that this baby needs to have the right direction now. Foundation now. I'm glad we're speaking on it now. I think it's a good thing now that we need to bring this out, but we already know what the tragic consequences are for young people having this type of money.
Nice.
Another thing, too, we knew she was going to fall into that modeling trend because of her mother. I don't agree with that. I think a child should be a child, first of all, you know, and with her already starting out into Hollywood, the world is going to want to see her. We're putting her right back into the same limelight as her mother.
Dion, great stuff. Great stuff. Let's get John in on that. How does young stardom, how can it warp a young mind? John?
Oh, in so many ways. Really, the question is, how can it not? So I hope that this is just the exception to the rule, that she's not going down a path of being a Hollywood starlet. The answer to your question, Mike, is you get isolated from normal checks and balances. You don't really realize the consequences of your action in a negative sense. You start to get full of yourself. People are always telling you what you want to hear, and you really become kind of out of it. You need a countervailing force that will help you stay together, stay grounded, and have a good foundation.
Normal checks and balances. Yeah. Great stuff. John, Janet, thanks so much. Again, there's your headline. A 6-year-old with $49 million. We'll continue the conversation.